Laying the foundation. How many of you would agree with this statement? This quote was misquoted. The true quote, the way it was originally put out, is application of knowledge is power. What are the consultative essentials then for a broker when you're doing, I want to be consultative? Well, like I said, you must add some value beyond just transacting insurance. Many of us are already doing that. I'm presuming most of you in this room, if not all of you in this room, are doing ancillary things that you're using as value-added services as part of the service you bring to the table to the client. Earn a professional designation or be working toward one. Very important. Education never stops. Never stop learning or expanding your knowledge base. Own a quality resource library. EBIA, RIA, there's a number of them out there. Or have access to a resource library. Because when something comes up, to answer a question and answer it right without any authority for that answer is befuddling and does not have the weight if you say, this is the answer and here's what you can take to your accountant or your attorney to verify that this is the right answer. Here's the regulation, here's the code section, whatever. Find a mentor. Like I say, some of those accountants have been good mentors to me, and I've been a good mentor to them. Establish strategic alliances with TPAs, lawyers, accountants, other benefits professionals that can help you in areas. If you haven't done a self-funded case, don't walk away from them. Find somebody that's done one, work a case with them. You work one or maybe two cases, you'll be really in the saddle. What about consultative planning essentials? Well, now we're talking about the change kind of a paradigm. For the presentation ultimately has to be to the C-suite people. And apparently I forgot to put in my quote actions in this stuff, so we're going to be hustling through it anyway. So anyway, the presentation must be ultimately to the C-suite people. Why? Because you're making financial decisions that are going to go beyond what most of the HR people will go to, or will be able to make decisions on. The initial efforts can be through HR, but you've got to have an avenue to work upstream. We'll talk about that in a little bit. If you're talking to C-suite personnel, not that you can't have a spreadsheet or shouldn't have a spreadsheet to review, but if you can't say the crux of what you want to say in less than 2 pages with lots of white space, you're going to lose them. You've got to condense it into the recommendations. Here is what I recommend and why. And then if they have a question, you've got the support material, the spreadsheets. So what I recommend is a 2-page executive summary that says what you want to say with your exact recommendations. Your health insurance proposals should have a 1-page executive summary about why you selected what you put in the executive summary, and then you have your spreadsheets down below that. So you can drill as deep as you need to go. But I've found that most of the time when you're dealing with a C-suite CFO and you say, I think you should do this program with these benefits for this reason, you end up saying, yes, what's next? And you don't even have to show the spreadsheet. You will go over it with the HR once the sale is made, but it's not necessary to the sale itself. Provide adequate technical support to substantiate your claims. So I'm not saying you don't have a 60 or a 70-page report there, but I'm saying it needs to be condensed down that you can go over it with a C-suite person in 20 to 30 minutes, unless they have a lot of questions, which you will be prepared for. Opportunities, again, that we looked at, educating part and full-time employees if they don't have health insurance is an opportunity that you could ask an employer about. Compliance evaluation and analysis. You've got COBRA, you've got HIPAA, you've got ERISA, you've got Section 125. In California, I found that about 30% roughly of the POP plans out there don't have a plan document. Employers are operating a plan with an election form and nothing more. Discrimination testing. There's a number of tests for a lot of them. FSAs have their own tests. The DCAP, Dependent Care Assistance, has its own tests. ERISA has tests. Section 125 has 3 tests. I mean, there's a lot of things to look for. Not that you have to be an expert and do the tests, but you need to recognize if there's a problem. You need to recognize it and then refer it. Because again, we're not attorneys or accountants. Comprehensive, or TPAs for that matter. Some of you may be TPAs in here though. Comprehensive strategic planning is also an opportunity for charging a fee. What about educating employees? Well, like I said, there's health insurance basics, qualifying for subsidies. What do they need to do? Again, if an employer really wants to help their employees but can't afford to give them insurance, they may very well be willing to have you go in and train them for a fee, do a group meeting with them.